Seeing as Splatoon 2 is out in a few days, I thought I'd make a quick video with some easy tips on how to find success online. Even though the game is cartoony, it can get real frustrating real quick, so here are some ways to avoid some of that frustration. And just quickly, some of these tips will be most beneficial in the turf war mode. I'm not claiming these are the definitive strategies to Splatoon, but keeping them in consideration has found me the most success online. Before I begin, I want to make a quick comment around controls. Splatoon has two different control options. One is the standard twin stick layout, the other makes use of the motion control capability of the Switch's Joy-Cons or the Pro Controller. Which should you use? In my experiences so far, there's no superior option. Just use whatever you're most comfortable with. But in saying that, motion controls aren't bad, so maybe give them a go. Charging your special. Regardless of which game mode you play, you're going to want to charge your special attack as quickly as possible, as depending on your selection, it can provide advantages in combat, giving a decent chance for early splats, which in turn stops enemies charging their special and stops them from playing the objective for a short period of time. So, when the match begins, begin covering as much ground as possible with ink. This is obvious if you're playing turf war, but the more turf you cover with your own ink, the more charge is given to your special attack. Your special meter can be seen in the top right hand corner of the screen. Just as a side note, only covering the ground counts towards your special meter and your team's score, but covering the walls can provide advantages that will be discussed later in the video. So when you're spraying your ink, you want to make sure that every single drop is landing on uncovered turf. So that means considering the arc of your weapon and moving in such a way that allows your ink to drop appropriately. I find this is most successful when strafing, as if you're moving forward while shooting turf, you're covering way less ground as you go, unlike if you were strafing, as seen here. The other tip, which applies to all weapon types, at the beginning of a turf war match, head in a different direction to teammates. There's no benefit to inking turf that's already been covered by your own team, you're just wasting time. As the match progresses and you begin to encounter the enemy, that's when it's wise to stick together. Watching your back. While at times it can be easy to forget, map awareness is key, so keep an eye on what's around you, even if that just means keeping an eye on the nearest patch of enemy ink. Where there's enemy ink, there could be an enemy. Because listen, there's nothing worse than having inked a long patch of turf, only to realise that there was an enemy behind you the whole time, undoing all your hard work, then to finish up by splatting you. To add to this, when you die, you leave a large patch of enemy ink, doing their work for them, so don't turn your back on an enemy, or their ink. Be sneaky. On the flip side of that last tip, being able to sneak up on someone and attack when they aren't expecting it is almost always a guaranteed splat, so make use of that ink you've laid down. When you go squid mode in your own ink and stop moving, you're invisible, so leap out when they aren't expecting it. Just be careful not to let it happen to you, because they can go invisible as well. Splats aren't everything. In turf war, the winner isn't the team with the most splats, or kills, it's the team that has the most turf inked in their colour. Obviously, if you're getting splats, it puts you at an advantage, but it isn't the most important thing. Be careful not to waste time hunting kills when you should be inking turf. Hey, if you see an opportunity to take out an enemy, do it, but don't make it your match goal. Flanking. Complementing tips 3 and 4 is flanking. So you've inked the surrounding turf, but now an enemy is turned up trying to undo your work, but luckily you've already laid the groundwork. Take advantage of it. One of the greatest parts of Splatoon is the opportunities for flanking. Disappear in the ink and quickly appear somewhere else. And don't just use the ground. Inked walls can give you a quick height advantage or set you up for a sneaky splat from behind. That's why it's good to paint them. I know it's easier said than done, but try and move in a way they can't predict. For example, maybe slide up a wall that's hidden to them. Super jump. When you're waiting to spawn, hit X to open your map. Select a teammate and you can jump to their location. It's not just when you're spawning, you can use this ability whenever you like, but be careful when you jump, as it telegraphs to nearby enemies who, if they've seen it, will likely be waiting to ambush you when you land. There's no escaping getting splattered if they are. So if you can see on the map that a teammate is in combat, maybe choose a different teammate, or swim back to the action instead. There's nothing worse than dying straight after a spawn. So, that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found some of the advice in this video useful. If you have, leave a like and maybe subscribe. It would be really appreciated. Well, until next time.